Oh my goodness, it's finally here. Monster Hunter Wilds is upon us, and I'm super excited to make loads of guides for you folks to help you along your journey, whether as a new or returning hunter. There's absolutely some value here for everyone. If you're looking for a breakdown of all of the weapons with all of their combos, you want to check out the All Weapons Master Guide. Although recorded during the betas, is still very relevant for launch, but here today I wanted to dive into some advanced techniques, or at the very least, lesser known moves for all of the weapons. If you enjoy my Monster Hunter guides, join the 20% of returning viewers and subscribe for more, but just watching is a massive support I'm super grateful for, so either way. Here I'm using all low rank Hope armor with a level 1 Hope weapons as well to absolutely minimize on spoilers where I can, as I was fortunate enough to receive an early access copy directly from Capcom for free, thank you very much, so that I could get ready with some guides before release for you folks. But of course the very nature of the video is a spoiler in and of itself, so do please be mindful of that going into it. We're going to go in order, so first up is the Greatsword, the poster weapon of the franchise. You can do a strong wide slash after any stage 2 charge slash. It will assume the charge level of the previous charge slash, so if you get that to charge level 3, your strong wide slash will be charge level 3 as well. It's a really nice additional hit before going in for your TCS, so if you've got a bit more time during a topple or what have you, take advantage of it and put it in the combo. You can also follow up with the strong wide slash straight after a jumping charge slash off a ledge, which once again can then be followed up with a TCS, and immediately after landing your offset slash, after hooking on and chasing up to the monster, you can press circle or B to do your strong wide slash, and again into a TCS if you like. By pressing R2 to guard during an attack animation, you have to wait for it to come to a close before the hunter places the sword in front of them. If however you hold left stick for a direction whilst pressing your R2 guard, it will animation cancel much quicker, getting into your guard much faster compared to just your neutral R2. So always hold a direction when you're doing it. Immediately after a focus strike or a power clash, you are able to instantly go into a true charge slash with triangle or Y. When you time your tackle with a monster's attack, so you use it with a heavy damage mitigation and hyper armor, it will actually preserve the charge level that you are on during the tackle, further rewarding and encouraging that aggressive playstyle. Up next, we have the fan favorite, the longsword. The focus strike attack actually differs depending on which direction you hold your left stick after the hunter raises their sword in the air. If you hold forward, you do the vertical slices, backwards you step back and do the cross slashes, and either way to the side you do the sideways slice. The reason this matters is per wound that you pop, you go up a level of spirit gauge. So by using whichever technique is appropriate for you at the time when there's multiple wounds present, you may be able to go up 2 or even 3 levels of spirit gauge all the way up to red. Immediately out of your spirit charge whilst you're holding R2, with your sliver of spirit charge you've gained if you were on 0, you're able to go straight into a full foresight slash consuming spirit gauge and giving you the full iframe effect. You can do this even when you were on 0 before, and that sliver that you get for just starting the spirit charge is enough to give you the full whack foresight slash. You can also use this to cancel out of a failed EI Spirit Slash as well, cutting down the lag on that animation and allowing you to bounce into another one if you wish, going straight into another special sheath immediately after the Spirit Charge after the failed EI Spirit Slash. Not the most practical text when actually in the field, but pretty cool nonetheless. And a reminder that when at tier 3 red gauge, your Spirit Blade combo with the Spirit Round Slash has an extra very powerful follow-up, the Spinning Crimson Slash. Easy to forget about. On to the Sword and Shield next. During your Perfect Rush combo, you don't need to do the final slash which vaults you up into the air. You can instead cancel that into a Spinning Reaper, that very powerful round slash attack that you can do at the end of combos, which you can then follow up into the charged chop. If you do want to do the full Perfect Rush and vault into the air, you can actually still follow up with a Spinning Reaper and charged chop afterwards, following the Falling Bash Shield Slam at least. It's also worth pointing out that there are 2 different charged chops. There's one that you can do whenever during a combo after a round slash whatever, and then there's the ones that you do specifically after the Spinning Reaper, which are the full power charged chop attacks. I'd highly recommend that you always do the full power ones because they really pack a punch. This weapon's focus strike has a hidden property. If you use it against those white, not quite wounds, it does a high damage multi-hitting attack, presumably very good with elemental, and then instantly opens up the wound. When you see that white mark, it's never far off from being a wound anyway, but to be able to target it like that and instantly open it up with a high damage attack as well is pretty nifty. Whilst guarding with R2 and pressing triangle or Y, you'll do a sliding swipe, covering a great deal of distance, apparently has iframes as well, dealing 2 hits with a strong swing at the end. This is an absolutely essential skill to utilize constantly, letting you reposition at will and dominating the fight. Onto the dual blades next for a couple of quick ones. The original Heavenly Blade Dance has returned as a ledge attack, as well as the new Focus Strike. In Demon Mode, jump off a ledge, you will automatically engage in the Heavenly Blade Dance attack. One of the flashiest moves in the game, can be great for getting back breaks, it's just pretty cool. When doing the full Blade Dance Demon Dance combo between triangle and circle and R2, each time you glow white with the Demon Flurry inputs, you can reposition yourself with the left stick, and those inputs also replenish a big chunk of stamina. So when you're using the Blade Dance combo, consider going through the 5-piece R2 string rather than just the triangle and circle one. Next up, we've got the hammer, couple of swift ones for this as well. During the execution of your Focus Strike Earthquake, hold down R2 to do your hammer charge. So after you finish with your Focus Strike, you can go directly into a Mighty Charge. And of course then a Mighty Charge Slam if you wish. Do not sleep on the second charged orange glow attack, the Charged Upswing. It's fast, a great gap close, deals good damage and good KO. You can get into it quickly by charging or by doing your charge step, and quickly combos into the charged follow-up as well. That fast backswing. So two pretty powerful low commitment attacks you can just fire out. Peak bonking. Speaking of bonk, this one comes with a honk. Out of all of these extra advanced techs, I think the hunting horns are my favorite. They're a hidden rhythm-based timed inputs for the performance beats when doing the performance attacks, where if you time the performance beat with R2 during the pulses, the horn glows red and you deal extra damage. Monster Hunter DDR, beautiful. The same applies during the Focus Strike as well. You can do 5 quick note inputs during the animation. If you time these with the rhythm with the pulses, they'll deal extra damage and a bonus attack at the end as well. 10 out of 10 timed honking. On to the next, we have the Lance here. This had the most changes between all of the weapons since the beta, with the addition of a new powerful counter-attack Retribution Thrust, which you can do after any block, but it's more powerful after a perfect block, and even more powerful after your Power Guard when blocking significant damage. The counter thrust that you did after High Thrust 3 has now been absorbed into the charge counter, kind of bringing back the guard counter from World, kind of not, which you can get into out of any move at any time, but you still let go of it during an enemy's attack to then do the powerful double counter thrust, negating all damage to you whilst hitting really hard. I'm not just going over the Lance changes here, these are the advanced techs I want to talk about as well. During a combo, press triangle and circle to do a wide sweep, a very powerful horizontal swipe, great as your second input before your triple thrust finisher. Shields up, Iron Breakers. Up next we've got the Gunlance. After you've done the very powerful, spectacular full burst combo, you can finish it off with a Wyvern's Fire, which will actually fire out much quicker with a much shorter wind up, for both shots if you want to do one after another, dealing tremendous damage. This is also true after you've done your Focus Strike, so be sure to get your Wyvern's Fire, maybe even back-to-back Wyvern's Fire after you've done it. Luckily, you can also replenish your Wyvern's Fire very quickly by doing your charged shelling attacks. Hold down circle or B for the full charge, which will restore about half a Wyvern's Fire ammo's worth. Next up we have the Switch Axe, which got some really nice buffs from the beta. After doing your Focus Strike in Sword mode, the rapid slashes followed by the quick elemental discharge, you can press R2 to follow up with an unbridled slash, or hold down R2 to do a full release slash when amped, allowing you to go straight into a really powerful flashy finisher, which got a big bump in damage. After landing your offset rising slash in axe mode, if you press R2 you do a very powerful follow-up morph slash. You don't have to do the axe follow-up with triangle, the sword strike hits really hard with an initial strike and a powerful file explosion as well. Don't sleep on your morph attacks, they are pretty strong, particularly the morph sweep out of the wild swing, which is this really crunchy combo out of axe form into sword mode. Up next we have the other morphing weapon, the Charge Blade. As well as activating Savage Axe when used against a wound, the Focus Strike is a very good gap closing attack, and instantly transforms a weapon from axe mode into sword mode if you use it in axe form. Worth keeping in mind, may be more useful than the forward dash slam with the axe in certain situations. Speaking of Savage mode, hold down the attack button during your swings to do the additional ticks of damage. This can be with the triangle attacks or with the circle attacks. Just after each individual input, make sure you press and hold it down. This can give you up to double damage, it's crazy. The sword charge takes a really long while to do, unless you've loaded your files beforehand in the same move. By coordinating it accordingly, you can cut down the animation time drastically. Onto the Insect Glaive next, which also received substantial changes. Whilst in focus mode, if you do your regular attacks with triangle or circle, the Kinsect will mimic your attack and simultaneously automatically harvest extracts. A very efficient way to get your triple buff. Speaking of, we know the Focus Strike when used against wounds gives you all 3 buffs instantly. You may not realize you can also do the Focus Strike whilst in mid-air, which is fantastic for those pesky back wounds. The charged attacks you can do now have offset properties. The strong descending slash will offset after that swing across the body. You have to time it slightly early, but it does also work with the strong descending thrust, the mid-air charged downward thrust attack, which you'll likely activate by accident more than anything, but just be mindful that that also has offset properties. Onto the ranged weapons, here we've got the light bowgun. Mechanically, the ranged options are not complex at all. Aside from being mindful of what other ammo options you've got available to you, the main thing I would say with LBG is to ensure that you're doing chaser shots frequently for the increased damage that they deal, but also the huge amount of special gauge that they restore. Your loop is to bounce between special gauge and then refilling it, so consistent chaser shots will be really helpful for that. The grenade launcher focus strike is really strong and great at hitting multiple wounds at once. Be mindful of where you're aiming the shot if you want to pop as many as possible with the minimum amount of grenades used. Onto its big sister, the heavy bowgun. Again, mechanically pretty simple. Whilst in special mode, the focus strike can be charged up to deal more damage. This uses up a chunk of your special gauge, and I'm not really sure if it's worth it, but it's an option that you have available. The HBG's offset attack is also something that can only be done in special mode, also consumes special meter, and can be charged up for better timing and more damage. It's a shame that both these techs actually consume special meter. It'll put people off from using them. Last but certainly not least, we have Capcom's favorite child, the bow. By pressing triangle and circle, you can do one of the weapon's special attacks, Dragon Piercer. This has a very long wind-up time. If, however, you do it after your power shot combos with circle or B, it fires out much quicker with a significantly shorter charge-up time. Keep that in mind if you enjoy using Dragon Piercer and you want to incorporate it into your playstyle. The core combo I've found which is really strong is a couple of regular shots with R2, your follow-up shortened power shot combo with circle or B, which you can do twice, and then finishing it off with 1,000 dragons, with the whole combo being done against a tracer shot with power coating. An absolutely devastating combo loop. After your charging sidestep with X or A, you can press triangle or Y to do the flying swallow shot. You don't actually have to hold down L2, but you're going to be for the most part whilst you're using the bow. This is a fantastic mobility move, which sees you leap across into any direction you use it. Fantastic for gap closing, distance creating, and generally getting yourself out of danger. Effective usage of flying swallow shot will see you become absolutely untouchable with a bow. That's everything I've got for now. Take these lessons and go out there and hunt. So exciting that Wilds is here now. If you do have any additional techs that you like to use, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for all manner of guides moving forwards for Wilds. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the Forbidden Lands.